Today, I want to talk about the minimum wage. I get that some of you, just hearing the topic for this week's conversation, have already run into a fit of rage with assumptions. I guess the most popular assumption for some people is McDonald's fryer cooks getting $15 an hour while you're working your ass off at your job you went to college for, you had training for all these years, and you're making a little bit more than them or making less than them. That's the assumption. When Roosevelt first created the minimum wage, this is what he had to say about it. It was to ensure people of all skill levels, if they worked, they could earn a decent living, thus a living wage. So when I talk about the minimum wage, I'm not talking about people getting money for nothing. I'm talking about what it takes to live in society. When the minimum wage first started in 1938, it was 25 cents an hour, which is equivalent to $4.45 in today's wages. Now, if you do the math compared to our current minimum wage, it's only $2.80 more now in 82 years. When you think about how the price of everything has gone up in those 82 years, it really blows your mind to think that the amount that the government says that someone should be able to get just to live has only changed with $2.80. Let me help you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from a place where I'm saying we should start around money, not care about the deficit, not care about all that stuff. I'm simply talking about the price to live in today's society. Food isn't going to stop going up. Healthcare isn't going to stop going up. Education isn't going to stop going up. These things aren't going to change. It's not going to pause because we say that you're getting $7 an hour, so therefore that's what you're stuck with. We don't care. Everything else is more expensive. This is what you're stuck with. This is where I'm coming from in the conversation. I'm not saying that I have all the solutions. I'm saying that I want to talk about it from an even place. Because there's so many times that we have conversations that just are immediately arguments before a word is even uttered because you've just gotten stuck in this mode of thinking this is the way it is, never walking a day in someone else's shoes and just saying that that's how it is. I'm fine. You should be fine. You should just work harder. That argument isn't working anymore. 2009 was the last time that the minimum wage was raised to where it is now. That's 12 years. Inflation has gone up in those 12 years. Last time it's been raised. And we're still talking about the $2.80 difference in 82 years. And this isn't just about, I'm not even going to make this specifically a race thing. I'm not going to make this a geographic thing, because if we want to talk about geographically where the problems are, we can go to the inner city of Chicago where people are barely living, working so many jobs to survive. Then we can also talk about Appalachia in West Virginia and Virginia, where they're struggling to survive too. It's the same problem. Ultimately, y'all have the same problems. Even the people who think they're doing fine, who are killing themselves working all these hours. Yeah, I know it's COVID right now, so you're working at home, so you're not feeling as much. But just remember how the drives to work, the amount of hours you have to spend at work, just get a wage to be able to afford your mortgage. This is what I'm talking about here. This is a common sense stuff that should be a no-brainer for our government. But we've gotten so twisted around all this other stuff that we're not fighting for our basic needs. I know some of you have been watching my videos, notice that basic is a theme for me. Every week, we have to go back to the basics. We got to stop fighting each other. I mean, we look at the extremes of both parties. You got AOC on one side fighting for a living wage, and then you got the other side of Trump supporters who are angry about their bankruptcies and not being able to keep up with bills and fighting to scratch and claw machines and taking their jobs. How can we not see that these are the same problems that we're angry about, but we express it in different ways? Bringing it back to the topic of the day. Now, the Democrats are fighting for a $15 minimum wage. A federal minimum wage. Now, a lot of states have already been doing what they got to do to take care of their problems, but we're talking about a $15 across the board minimum wage. And within the Democrat Party, we've got Joe Manchin, who flat out said in West Virginia, that's too much for the cost of living in the West Virginia, where he would be fine with $11 minimum wage. So why is he the villain for simply talking about the issues in his state? Not everything works across the board federally. And then we got the second issue with the minimum wage with small businesses. Small businesses, they can't handle that extra amount of money they got to put out. I'm not going to boohoo it just based on these small things, but we got to think about it. We got to negotiate. We got to talk it out. We got to find out what's best for everyone. That's where we're at with this. And that's what the whole issue is about. What's best for everyone in the United States of America. For too long, we've had politicians fighting a game of winners and losers where one side gets power and they run around a parade of power and nothing gets done. We can sit there and say, oh, who's fighting for it? Yeah, that's fine. You're fighting for it, but are you going to get it done? That's what the answer is. There is a solution where everybody can get a piece of it and we can get our economy up. We can get people out of poverty. We can have people having a living wage. But it's not a one-shot deal. I mean, this should have been done in small increments in 82 years. I mean, we're on the right path up to 2009. Then it was just like, let's forget about it. You know, everybody's good. The top percent's doing fine, so that's all that matters while everybody else is suffering. That's what happened in these 12 years. I mean, think about it in those 12 years. We spent 8 years with one side obstructing the president. And the backlash of nothing getting done in those 8 years was Trump, where it was simply the president saying, I'm a Republican, I'm only going to help Republicans. Now, that's a blanket statement, but that's pretty much the attitude. It was like, F your feelings. This is what's going to happen. And now, Joe Biden's got a huge mess he's got to work through, beginning with the pandemic response and the minimum wage. But we've already had a roadblock because we just want to throw everything into one bill and think that everybody's going to pass it at the end of the day and just say, oh, it's for the pandemic. We need to have a serious discussion and debate about the minimum wage. It's not as easy as saying yes and saying no. When people aren't a part of society and able to spend money freely, that's money that's not in the economy. That's taxes. That's not to help with our government and our roads and to get stuff fixed. That's money that's not going to pay down the deficit. So what are we going to do, folks? That's the question. Now, I want to hear what you have to say about this. And I'm hoping that there are some open minds that can maybe give me an idea of how we can fix this problem, because it's not going to get fixed by magic or by one side bowling over the other side. It's going to happen from the people talking to their representatives, or actually just talking about it to get it out there and get ideas out in the public. So how do you feel about the minimum wage? Is $15 too much? Is it too little? Is $11 good in your state? Or how has the raise of minimum wage in your state affected local businesses and the economy? I want to hear from you. My name is Cal Finding King. Thank you for attending my Jeep Chat.